Uh.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Power Half Hour, episode 144. And today we have hailing from Hawaii in Waikiki, Mr. Chris Okamura, who's been in real estate 26 years, has owned a brokerage, has run a team, and now he's with EXP for the past almost 9 years. And he's one of my mentors, a great influencer, and a great mentor to a lot of EXP agents out there. We were just there in Oahu. It's so great to see you again, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Absolutely. You know, it's hard to say no to you, John. Your energy and infectious behavior is like the beast. How do you tell the beast no? I love it. But I just love being around you, brother. So thank you. And again, I want to thank you again for bringing your whole entire family out across the ocean to bless us with yourself on stage here at Bill's 25. So thank you. It was awesome.
What I said to Dylan Nunaka, I said, Dylan, I'm coming to Oahu, build. We love Oahu. And you know what he said? He said, what's not to like? Like, you know what? That's true.
I mean, people have different perspectives. I have people that I've talked to that says they can't stand Oahu, which is
really.
You know, I mean, in hindsight, you can talk to people like the Dylan Nanakas, which I love that dude. He's like my brother from another mother, you know. But he is born and raised in Kona, right? And he absolutely hates being here on Oahu. Like,
really?
Oh, he'll be here for just a moment, and he's like, dude, get me out of here. I got to get back home. And I mean, I get it. So it's like anything else in life, right? You're kind of induced to the environment you're based in your whole entire life and what you're accustomed to. You know, I came from the mainland, so I needed that transition. For me, this is where I need this energy.
Exactly. He's born and raised Kona.
Oh,
so, you know, you coming from California, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that. But coming here, you need a little bit of city and then a lot of sun and ocean.
Well, you get all the three above. What I tell everybody, though, is this. I mean, I have talked to about a million people that would love, like, dude, I want to move to Hawaii. Like, now that I'm here in Hawaii, all my friends are like, man, I want to move to Hawaii. Man, I mean, if I had a dollar for every time I heard that, it's like, now I'd be rich. But the truth is, when you come over here, I might tell everybody, coming from the mainland and transitioning over here into an island type environment, I would advise you to probably move to Oahu first. Get acclimated with island life living, because it's not vacation. Understand that. Like, there's two different sides to that coin. Vacation for 2 weeks is like totally cool. You're doing absolutely nothing, enjoying life, and like just chilling. When you come here to live and actually do life, you're doing life. It's different, people. Doing life in paradise, trust me, it's amazing, but it has its own set of challenges. So just come here, get acclimated with island life in the Hawaii state of culture and understand how the differences of that is. Then, as you do, go visit outer islands, take some time, and then you can say, well, you know, I guess I want to live in Maui, or I want to live in Big Island, or I want to move to Kauai. But I'd say get acclimated here first in Oahu, understand what it's like to live in Hawaii first, and then I've seen so many people come and go directly to Kauai or directly to Maui or directly to Big Island, and instantly, within 6 months or a year, they're like, I got to go back. This is not for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well,
did they go back to the mainland then, or did they go to Oahu?
Go back to mainland.
Really?
A lot of people go back to mainland. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I just say, just come to Hawaii. I mean, just come to Hawaii and understand there's a lot different aspect of it than just the lens you see when you're on vacation for 2 weeks, laying on a beach drinking Mai Tais. That is the dream, yes.
Yes,
but
sir.
let's be reality, everybody. And not many people have won the lottery, and not many people are in the Brent Gove and Gene Frederick scenario where we can just do whatever. In that case, move to Hawaii and do whatever you want. But you got to do life.
I mean, this guys, you heard it here. To go from city life all the way to island life, you know, you gotta. The middle part is Oahu, and that's probably the best in between.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to go city all the way to island life right away. It's tough.
It is. It's tough. Even if you think, oh, I could totally do it. Okay, well, yeah, go ahead. I mean, a year or 2 years, then you'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's dig into it. You know, when did you move to Oahu from the mainland?
Officially, this August will be exactly 2 years for me.
2 years?
Yeah.
What?
I permanently moved here. Yeah. My family has been here though. My family has been in Ewa Beach here. I was actually doing some digging on a family tree thing, and I just realized and found out that my grandmother and great-grandparents have been here since the mid-1800s in Ewa. Yeah. So they were registered in Ewa in 1800s. I'm like, wow, okay. I didn't realize that we went back that far, and they were here doing a lot of this to sugar fields. All of Eva was all sugar fields, time farming. So they came here to farm, but I didn't realize that. Yeah, so they've been here for a while, but I didn't really come here a lot as a kid.
So 150 years later, your parents moved to California?
Well, my mom, born and raised here in Eva as well, in the same area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, she ended up. Honestly, I don't even know the whole story, to be honest, John. You know, this is weird. Like, I know my mom came to California somehow. No idea how that got here. And somehow she met this guy who donated some sperm. Oh, can I say that on here? My bad. I don't know.
Yeah,
a man that donated some sperm.
Real. Let's get raw.
Yeah. She met a guy who donated some sperm, and that's the one that actually ended up making me. So, yeah. And that was in California. My dad was out there in California. I don't know how they met. I have no idea the story of it. Don't know much about them. I don't know much even about that guy that I call my dad, whatever. I don't know much about him at all. He was pretty non-existent my entire life. He was kind of that guy, just if you saw him in the house, he was that chair sitting there against the wall. Like that was him. No emotion, no connection, no communication, no anything at all that you would recognize that you would even know he was there and that he recognized that we were there. So yeah, I pretty much don't know anything about that guy at all. You know, my mom actually ended up passing away when I was 15, and so I ended up at that point moving out and leaving. I had literally started my life at 15 on my own. Moved in with a buddy of mine that his dad actually happened to was a construction worker, owned a sheetrock company. So I started doing sheetrock work. I started doing grunt work, cleanup work for like $4 or $5 an hour under the table.
Dude.
Just so, yeah. And I didn't really do school. I did home study type thing, which really isn't school. If we all know, if you've ever done that, it's kind of like you just come here and scribble some stuff out and turn whatever in. I managed to do some classes, night classes at a college where I was at in Turlock, by the way. It was in Turlock. And I just took those courses at night in the evenings so I could get some credits up, which enabled me to allow me to actually walk and graduate with my class at the time. So I didn't go to school, but I was able to graduate and walk. And I got a diploma, but, you know, whatever that means, a piece of paper.
Wow.
So I'm definitely not the book smart guy. I am challenged in so many areas. Don't ask me to do math. I'm not great at math. And then English I've actually gotten better with grammar and English and writing because I spent a lot of time in my early 40s doing a lot of therapy. And then my therapy kind of led to me doing a lot of reading. So I love reading. I've read hundreds of books. I read books at least 10 to 12, 15 a year. I'm always reading a book. When I finish one, I pick up another one.
There you go.
So I enjoy that. And I think my grammar has progressed and my ability to speak more eloquently and more articulate better through reading books, honestly. But yeah, so that's kind of my story. Yeah, so I mean, ideally that was it. I ended up living in the Sacramento area for...
Sacramento, okay.
Yeah, 32
Is that where you met Brent?
Yeah, that's where I met Brent, yeah.
Oh,
Brent was Keller Williams at the time, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually moved to Keller Williams, too. I ended up, you know, kind of my journey, I ended up running to Keller Williams. They recruited me in 2013 to run their office in Sacramento. And so I was a team leader for them for 3.5 years, which was a good experience. I loved the opportunity. But I also realized that I was just another spoke in the rim. Everybody understands that. Yeah, I was never building my dream. I was building Gary Keller's dream, or the OP that owned the market, you know, the franchise. So I get it. You know, I always believe that, you know, everybody talks about realtors being entrepreneurs or business owners. I think that's a really loose term. I think in my definition of entrepreneur is someone who's willing to take all the risks and have no idea what the outcome is. So, you know, that to me is in that model would be the OP. You know, who spends the money on the franchise, who buys everything and risks it all and has no idea how that's going to turn out for them. You know, they hopefully hire the right team leader to run the whole entire organization for them. And if it's a good leader, that grows their, you know, business. If it's not, they watch it sink. So, yeah, that was kind of that series for me in 2013. That's how I met Brent, actually, in Sacramento. We started there.
Gotcha. Okay. So you met Brent in 2013, but
actually, I met him before that. I met before. I knew of him because he was an iconic individual, even when he was at RE/MAX.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I knew of Brent Gove even when he was at RE/MAX. He was a highly iconic individual in the Sacramento area, high producing. Just as you all know, Brent, his energy is the same today as it was 20-something years ago.
Wow.
He hasn't changed a bit. That's who he is. So yeah, very iconic. So I knew of him. I just didn't really cross paths with him more until the Keller Williams times where we just like really came really close at that point. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, anyways, I spent the majority of my life in Sacramento. And then, yeah, I started real estate. And honestly, the real estate game was just a fluke. If I'm being honest, it was a fluke and how it all works and how it came to be. I didn't really even want to sell real estate. I didn't want to do real estate. I just, in my years doing construction work, I used to do these houses in the Bay Area that were really high-end homes. And there were like 8,000 square foot homes, $1 million properties. And there was a guy that we were working on his house for probably a good 6 to 8 months doing some work on it. At the time I was doing tile work. And this guy, his name was Frank. And every time Frank would drive home in this brand new BMW in 3-piece suits, and his wife looked like Barbie. He had this 8,000 square foot house. Man, he had it all, right? In the vision of all things, he had it all. And I'm like, and one day I'm out digging trenches in 100-degree weather in his front yard. We were laying some conduit for something, and it just was so happenstance. He drove up in this car on a Friday, gets out of his car, out of air-conditioned car, BMW, and his suit just looked immaculate. And I'm looking at me, I'm looking at him like, dude, Frank, I was like, what do you do for a living? How do you afford this? And, you know, kind of very similar to your story. You know, we talked about you before last time, and it's just like, he's like, yeah, I'm a mortgage broker. I'm like, what is that? What do you even do? And he's like, he starts to tell me what he does. But, you know, it was like one ear and out the other because I had no idea how to really articulate that and make sense of it all. And so I'm like, all right, cool. But in my mind, it stuck there. Like, I wanted his house. I wanted his family. I wanted all that Frank had. I wanted that.
Yep.
And that's how it all started, honestly. And to be honest, there wasn't like a thing of like, okay, Chris, I'm gonna do number 1 first, and I'm gonna do number 2 to get number 3, like how I am now with my business. Back then, it was like, yeah, that's a dream. I have no idea. I'm in dirt right now in 100 years digging a trench, and I want Frank's life. You know, how is that ever going to come to be? And, you know, I just always been a firm believer of law of attraction. So what you put out, you think about, comes about. You know, what you focus on expands. And so in my mind, subconsciously, I kind of buried that in the vault of Frank's life. I know I did in my head. Like, I've always wanted to aspire to have that. And so, yeah, just things in life happened. And they call your luck is not luck. You know, preparation meets opportunity. In my whole life, I think, my whole entire life, as probably yours too, John, like, I think we just been preparing. And everything we're doing, right? We're just been preparing. This is a preparation of life. We're doing everything. The good, the bad, the ugly is all a preparation of life. And in that process, we just have to absorb the bad and make it good. And we have to have a good perception of it and look at it as a learning lesson, right? And then on top of that, we're doing that in the time when that opportunity does show up. And I've just never been a guy who ever said no. I was the guy who always said yes. I have no idea what was on the other side of that door, but I didn't care because what I was on this side of the door, it had to be better. Like, that's all I thought. Like, it had to be better. And if it was worse, oh, well. And it was the next step to whatever I was going to go. And so, yeah, it just one sequence after another sequence after another opportunity after another opportunity. And then here we go. Like, lo and behold, I ended up having my own mortgage company, like literally where Frank was at. Didn't even like think and sink in that. And it took years, obviously, like a good, you know, I don't know how many years it took, but by the time I was 2000, yeah, that was like in the 90s, the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. So it was rather quickly, honestly, that I managed to connect with a buddy of mine that I used to sell cell phones with at a Verizon Wireless. It wasn't even Verizon Wireless. It was AirTouch Cellular back then. And I just, again, by luck, it wasn't luck. It's how the universe works. I ended up running into this guy again at a 24-hour fitness at 11:30 at night one night, years later. And he was doing real estate, and I was doing mortgages, and let's do our thing. I'm like, okay. And I had no idea. I just kept saying, okay. And we did it. And I swear I didn't know what we were doing, but we just ran by the seat of our pants, and we figured it out. But
oh, my goodness.
The only thing going for us was that this was prior to the 2007 fallout.
Right.
Because if everybody's in that business, dude, it was like wheelbarrows. We were doing hand over fist of deals. I mean, it was the option arm loans, the Nina loans, the no income no assets, the stated loans. I mean, yeah, we were shooting out loans like candy on a Friday, and you know we were closing transactions. So it was rolling for us. So yeah, in all hindsight, that's what helped us be successful. Yeah.
Amazing journey. You said 26 years in real estate. That includes the mortgage portion?
Oh yeah, that's all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So early part of
99 is when you started this whole thing.
Yeah, late 90s.
When did you meet Frank?
Frank was probably, I was like 20 years old. I was super young. Yeah. Not even
Okay.
actually, wait, it was before then too. Yeah. It was young. I was much younger. It was years before that. And I just had married because I was doing
So
construction
early
work.
90s, you met Frank.
Yeah.
Doing construction work.
Doing construction
and
work.
then finally, at
It
some
all
point,
panned
you
out.
met some guy.
Because I was selling,
24
yeah.
hour fitness.
I got out of construction work by getting hurt. I got hurt
Oh, okay.
physically where I couldn't do my job. And so the company I was working for, in order to do light duty work, they had to put me into something through workman's comp. And it was actually a desk job. So crazy. It was a desk job selling drugs, not real drugs, but selling like prescription drugs to elderly people on a mail order process. So it was like I was mailing people like 9-day supplies of prescription drugs. And that was my way of getting out of construction into a different environment that I didn't realize was going to be my next step for me. And in that process, I met this girl that was there who happened to get me to go on a lunch one day to go interview to sell cell phones because we made commission off selling cell phones. She says, oh, what a great idea, let's go. I'm like, cool. I was along for the ride. Like, let's lunch, let's go. And I went to this interview. It was a group interview for Verizon Wireless, but it was called AirTouch Cellular back then. It wasn't Verizon. And they're like, oh, yeah, if you guys all want a job, you can start Monday. And it was like on a Friday. I'm like, okay. I quit my job that Friday, went back, and next Monday I went and started selling cell phones. So, yeah, it's kind of that kind of thing. And then I just met these different people in that process of selling cell phones, and that's how I got into mortgages because another guy left during the process of selling cell phones to go do mortgages. And I just happened to call him up months later on accident because there was two guys that his name was Tony, and I was calling another guy named Tony that we're supposed to go have drinks with on a Friday night. This is how crazy it is, John. I was supposed to go have drinks with a guy on Friday night named Tony, but I actually called the wrong Tony on my phone, but in hindsight, it was the right Tony because it was a Tony that had left to go sell mortgages. And he's like, bro, we're making so much money selling mortgages. You need to come do this. This is crazy. I made $20,000 last month. I'm like, what? And he says, yeah, come on. And so I literally, he goes, come to an interview. This again, on a Friday. Go to an interview at lunch. The guy sells me hardcore. It was like literally like that boiler room with freaking Vin Diesel. It was a boiler room mentality. And he's like, you want this job? You start Monday. This was a Friday again. Kind of one of those scenarios. I'm like, okay. I went back at Friday at lunch, handed my keys, my badge to my supervisor, and I quit. And then that Monday, I started doing loans. I had no idea what I was doing, but okay. And that's how this all just started developing and rolling in and rolling in. It just was crazy. Everything was supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. It wasn't my place to I just kept saying yes. And I'm telling you right now, if you're not saying yes to things and you're being hesitant or reluctant because you're uncomfortable or because you don't know, bro, you're killing yourself. You're cutting yourself off the knees. You will never get where you want to be at in life if you just keep saying no to things. I mean, opportunities are opportunities. That's why they call it luck. Opportunities are opportunities. They only knock once. If they knock once, go through the door. And that's how this all rolled into this, everything from mortgages. Yeah. And then that ended up happening to where one of the guys I sold cell phones with again at Verizon, I ran into him at 24 Hour Fitness one night. Literally, I was at the gym at like 11:30 of all times. I'm out there because I was working out late. And I was like, oh, my God. I haven't seen you in years. What's going on, buddy? How's it going? Oh, good. He's like, man, I've been selling real estate. I'm over at Remax. Let's go grab coffee. I'm like, all right. I hadn't had coffee. He says, man, we should just do our own thing. I'm like, okay. So we had no idea, but let's go do our own thing. And we did. And he had a little bit more savvy on the other end of like getting leases and getting office space and doing all the TI. So he was good at that. I'm like, all right, cool. And I was good at running, managing, and doing business and doing all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, it was crazy. It was a little small 900 square foot office with literally 10 people in it. Me and my buddy and 8 people on the phones dialing. They were dialing off these title leads all day long, like dialers for dollars. And that was how we did our business back then. And if people wanted to refinance, I did it. If they wanted to buy or sell, they went to my buddy. And we kind of just crossed paths. We made it all work. We built it. Ended up becoming within about a year, we moved to a 4,000 square foot office space with 36 people working for us at that point. Wow. And it just went from this to that. But again, the market was just different. It was moving very fast, very fast.
So you major success, guys. If you're listening to this right now, what I'm getting is say yes. Say yes to opportunities. Obviously, if you're not prepared for it, it wouldn't work out anyways. But if you're prepared, and opportunity knocks on your door, say yes. And that's what I'm learning from Chris right here. How do you come to such a fast decision when people ask you or invite you or, you know, enroll you to an opportunity? How do you make this decision so fast?
You know what it is? I think this is ingrained in me at such a young age when I was kind of on my own at 15. I was on a pure survival mode. I had to survive.
Survival,
and
yes.
When you're in survival mode, you don't, a lot of times you don't think about stuff. You just do it because you don't have that luxury of like pondering over what would make sense. Because nothing makes sense at 15 when you're young. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just, where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to eat? What am I going to do?
Wow.
How am I going to survive? So that was more of that angle. So when you get into that space of everything's like, yeah, okay, let's go. Okay, yeah, we're going to move. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, cool. Or you have nothing else to lose. When you got shit to lose, you're yes to everything.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's also, they say, you're the most dangerous person when you have nothing to lose and you go all in. Because when you have nothing to lose, man, you are all in and you're in it to win it regardless, and there's nothing that will stop you. So
that is gold right there.
It is.
Wow.
When you have zero to lose, like, fuck it, I got nothing to lose. All right, what am I going to go back to? Nothing. I'm going to go back to nothing. I'm going to go back to shit. So we're moving forward, and there is no like, should I do this? Should I do that? I don't know. Let me think about it. No, let's go. We're doing this. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. And just like, all right, let's go. If it's going to move me to the next step, okay, let's go. Let's do it. I don't know. I've always been that way. Okay. Maybe it's a Gemini trait. I don't know. It might be a Gemini trait.
Oh, you know what? Just speaking of which, I want to tell you the story about the first person I worked for. He's an absolute legend in our city. His name is Bob Rennie. And in one of his talks, he said, I'm not afraid to go bankrupt. And he's worth like $100 million, right? And he's like, I'm not afraid to go bankrupt. And people love it when I lose money in the stock market. But when you have nothing to lose, you become dangerous. And I love that. And you behave the same way. And I'll tell you, his birthday is June the 4th.
Mine's June 4th too. That's my birthday, bro. June 4th.
Are you serious?
Mine's June 4th.
That just gave me chills. That just gave me chills. Are you serious?
I'm serious as cancer, bro. Yeah, June 4th is my birthday, brother.
That is crazy how I just brought him up.
Oh, that is crazy. What the?
That is crazy.
I thought you were asking. I thought you were telling the people on the podcast that my birthday was June 4th. I'm like, yeah,
no,
know that, John. But it's him. Holy crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, June 4th, my birthday.
And we're in Gemini season, May 21st. Tomorrow's Gemini season.
Dude, best season in the world. In my opinion, the best season in the world.
I love it. And you know, my youngest is Gemini. So counting on her to be like Uncle Chris. Wow.
Oh shoot. Let's do it. You go all in. You go all in. And
I want to actually circle back a little bit. You know, I want to dig a little bit deeper, Chris.
Okay.
You said you said that your mom met a sperm donor. Wait, let's go back to that, because was he was your biological father, but he seemed like he was just there.
Oh yeah. Well, okay.
So all through the.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, when he's just there, did he not contribute to you at all during the 15 years? Not at all?
Yeah, not at all. So, you know.
How did that affect you as a youngster?
Oh, horribly. Absolutely horribly. I think everybody needs their parents. You know, I mean, as a kid, the most things that you can rely on in life as a child is, you know, that guaranteed the ones that are going to love you is your family, your parents. And when you don't get that, oh my God, it's a massive level of abandonment and lack of validation and self-worth. 1,000%. I had to go through therapy, like years of it, in my early 40s because I needed to really unpackage that dog shit pan. It was bad, for real. And, you know, everybody always says, oh, you know what? Well, you know, your dad did what he could with what he had. He did the best he could with what he had. And I always want to, challenge that comment because I don't believe that to be true. I believe he did the best that he did, what he was willing to do. Not that he had to. He was willing to do. He wasn't willing to step up. He wasn't willing to be different. He wasn't willing to be better. He was willing to be just who he was, which was his self, which was damaged, obviously damaged, because, I mean, I'll give him this much. He was raised in the internment camps during the Roosevelt era, so he was in the Japanese internment camps. So, yeah, his life wasn't easy as a child. I'll give him that for sure. Yes, absolutely. I'll give him that. But then again, as you get older and you move on and you go through life, you have to evolve and understand as you get on responsibilities like being a husband or being a father and having people that look up to you, you need to change the way you look at things. You need to be better. You need to be freaking better. That is a choice, to be better. But if you don't want to be better and you just want to stay who you are, then no, you're not doing the best you could. I don't think you're doing the best you could. You could have been better. And so I was the same way. I grew up with no father, essentially. He was non-existent. He was there, but he was not there. Non-existent. And so I could say I'm very similar to what he went through because his dad died in the camp too when he was 5. So he had no father.
Oh.
Okay?
Right.
So I get it. No father figure. All right. Well, I didn't have a father figure either.
Right.
Even though he was alive, I had zero father figure. So at that moment, I made a choice, though, to be better to my kids. I would refuse to be that way to my kids. You know? So, yeah, ideally, that was my choice, though, again. So, yeah, my dad was non-existent. Yeah, he was absolutely non-existent. I don't know. I haven't even talked to him now in probably 30 years.
Wow. 30 years.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still alive, to be honest. He's, like, cranking on 90, I think. And, yeah, I don't know. I honestly think it's guilt. In my mind, I think it's guilt. Guilt keeps you alive. You know? At some level, you got to feel guilty. I mean, I would. If I knew I just neglected my kids and never was there for them, and never, ever made an attempt, like never, ever made an attempt to try to reconcile, to try to make it right, to try to be better, that speaks volumes. That I'd feel guilty. So yeah,
is that like an Asian pride at its highest level? It just
I think
you're so stubborn about it.
So stubborn, yeah. I mean, you come from an Asian culture too, like right? You get it. Like it's very different in an Asian culture. But I would say, I don't know. I have no idea. Nor at this point in my life do I even want to figure it out. I just know that he was non-existent, and I just need to make better. I need to make better choices in my life, and I refuse to be like him.
So you know, the reason why, and thank you for sharing, Chris, being vulnerable on this show here, and I really appreciate that. The reason why I ask is because did you use that sort of, you know, abandonment, all those feelings that you got, or lack thereof, to use that as a chip on your shoulder to produce or to do big things in your life, and using that energy, channel that energy correctly to even today?
Oh, yeah. So people say, what's your why? And you got to figure out your why is. If you can't figure out what your why, then you're done. I'm serious. If you, no matter what you're doing, if you don't know your why, you're done. Mine was that, absolutely, because the minimal energy and attention he did give me was always deflating, degrading, and demoralizing to me. It was always not good enough, could have done better. Why'd you do that? It was never. So that was the energy that I always got from him. So yeah, for me, growing up as a kid again, I was like, wow, I was not good enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't this enough. That's where I came from, right? And so yeah, my goal was to prove him wrong, that he knew what the hell he was talking about. So yeah, I fought every tooth and bone to make sure I could prove him wrong, that I was worth something and that I would do something different in my life. And trust me, it's been a challenge to see that. And here's the irony of all of it. In all the years that I've done in myself, building my business, doing all the things I've done, he's not once ever seen it. He has no idea what I've done. He has no idea what I've accomplished. He has no idea. He refuses to even have a life with me. And that comes from another thing, honestly. This is a whole other chapter. But yeah, he decided to become a Jehovah's Witness the year I was born, and which is a cult. It's a cult. I'm sorry. If you're all listening out there and you're offended by that, oh well, sorry, not sorry. It's a cult. And I refused that cult. But he lived by it. And so for years now, he has refused to have any kind of connection to me because I no longer wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness. So yeah, he's literally like just survivor. You're off the island. I don't want anything to do with you. Like he's literally told me I want nothing to do with you, because of that. So yeah, that was even as an adult. So I even trying to reach out and like olive branch life with him. And all right, now we're older. I'm older. Maybe we can start something. And no, it's never worked into anything. So yeah, but that's fine. So I've managed to start my own life, my own identity, who I am, and this is something I have to work on every day, John. Every day. This is not something that I can like skip a day like, oh, I'm good. No, I have to wake up every morning and convince myself I'm fucking amazing, because for years I didn't. Yeah, that's what it is.
Wow.
So, but it's not an easy task. It's not something that you can't just stop. But it's an ongoing thing, and the fact that I did go through therapy in my early 40s. It helped me kind of get through this and understand that you have to create your own identity. Everything starts with you, ends with you, and begins with you, which is why this whole series, I don't know if you can see my shirt, but that's what the series is about right here, right? It's a You Matter series. I created this whole thing right here this year because you do matter. Everything starts with you, ends with you, and my entire organization, I'm creating an entire curriculum. We built some stuff for training for them to help elevate them. But I started from the foundation, man. If you guys can't figure out how to love yourself and truly believe that you deserve whatever you're doing, none of this is going to work. None of this is going to work. You might as well go back to work at corporate America and go punch a clock from 9 to 5, because if you think that entrepreneurialism is your thing, it's not. It's not. Because the first key and rule to entrepreneurism is that you must believe you deserve it, and everything that comes with it. So that is
the key to entrepreneurship is to believe that you deserve it.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's the first time I've ever heard that. And I think that's totally true. If you don't believe you deserve it, go back to getting a job, a job just over broke, and it's okay.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that.
You have to, I think the number one first thing you must understand in being an entrepreneur is that you got to believe you deserve it. Because this is a lifestyle that people want to have, right? This is a lifestyle people want to have. They want to have a flexible schedule. They want to work when they want to work. They want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. They want to have a life of freedom. Dude, that's like winning the lottery. Who doesn't want that? So,
but the sacrifices that they have to go through that they don't see, behind 26 years of struggle, there's this background of, working through you're never enough, you're amount to no good, and you're utilizing that energy correctly to become an entrepreneur, living the life of your dreams today, but the struggle you had to go through. Now, let's switch gears, because a lot of agents are, listening right now. You and I went through a couple of cycles already, but we went through a big cycle in 2005, 6, 7, and 8, finally recovering 2012. And then today we're seeing something right now. You have a lot of resilience. What advice would you give agents out there right now to keep going?
Well, okay, number one, again, do you deserve it? Do you deserve what you're going to get if you actually stick to doing what you're supposed to be doing? Because you got into this business for one reason or another, right? The dream, the aspiration, the highlights of what you see, it attracted you to it. But do you believe you deserve it? If you do, then yes, you must continue to keep going on. You got to keep going on, period. There is no stopping, no quitting. There is nothing. If it really is what you believe you deserve, then you're not going to quit. I mean, do you believe you deserve to eat food and drink water and have a place to sleep and a roof over your head and clothes on your back? If you deserve it, if you believe you deserve that, then you're going to continue to maintain a lifestyle that can afford that, right? Otherwise, that's called homeless. And people are homeless every day because they've given up on their belief they deserve the basic necessities, right? It's basic necessities, what we need in life. So once you give up on that belief, then you let everything go. And then you start to just, you float away, and all of a sudden you wake up one day like, how did I get here?
Correct.
How did I get here?
Yeah.
How did I allow myself to get here to this position where I am, where I'm at now? So, but yeah, so words of things I would say, you're right, going through all the crap you go through year after year after year. Here's what they always say, John. People spend thousands of dollars to go to seminars, to listen to people on stage that are super successful in their own rights of where they're at in life, right? They articulate and share with you their wins and where they're at and the successes they have and the life they're living. And it's magnificent. It's motivating. It's exhilarating. It's attractive. And people buy into that. But the problem is just those three words. It's motivating, it's exhilarating, and it's attractive. Those three things do not get what you fucking want in life. Motivation doesn't get you there. Discipline does. Exhilarating and attractive last only for 10 minutes. Those things they're just temporary. Motivation, exhilarating, attractive is temporary. You must have a sound foundational business of habits of discipline to get that to happen. So my point saying is that when we're going to these events and we're watching that person on stage, we're like in awe. Oh my God, look where he's at. I love where he's at. But you're buying into the wrong side of the street, my friend. You need to actually go back and play his video back of the last 20 years where he was in the dark, when he was broke, when he was struggling, when he was alone, when he was crying, when he was broken down on his knees, begging and praying to God to figure out what the hell he's going to do. Those are the things you need to freaking learn. I'm saying that. That's from a perspective of life. Like, going to these events are great because they're, again, exhilarating. They're in awe. They're inspirational. They're motivating to see where people are at today. But you're seeing it at the wrong place. You're meeting them in the wrong place. You need to meet them back 10 years ago, again, in the dark. That's where you need to meet these people. So in my opinion, we should have a stage full of people that showed themselves and showcased themselves 10, 15 years ago when they were in probably ripped jeans and, probably hadn't eaten for a day or two and trying to figure out how to pay their electric bill. That is where you want to be at, in my opinion. So if you can understand those basics of that's reality, learn and be motivated by that. Be in awe of that resilience, of that ability to dig in and claw and hammer everything down. That's what I want you to learn. I want you to learn that. That's what I want to learn. Yeah.
Wow.
Don't watch me where I'm at today. Watch me where I was at when I was literally in a place of just despair, because I've been there. Homeless, I've been there. Broke, been there. We've all been there.
Damn.
Right? You just got to understand that that should have been your moment to rise. That was your cue to fucking get up and let's rise. But some people, they end up letting that be their demise. They let them define them.
Yeah.
And they just cripple themselves down and they buckle down their knees. So
I think there's two types of people in this world, Chris. It's number one, the people that buy into these things, these hardships as their demise, and they keep staying there, or they can utilize that and go the other way, which is what you did, and you believe that you deserve what you wanted, and then couple that with the daily habit and discipline of putting in the work, and here you are today. But it first comes with a belief that you deserve it.
Yeah, and that's powerful. Not easy. That's not easy, though. So understand, I'm still working on the belief that I deserve it every day, John. That is not something that I learned 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I know I deserve. No, because every day you wake up and you're punched in the face like by Mike Tyson by some shit, and then you freaking buckle again like, I don't deserve. Oh, you know what? Every day, woe is me, right? You wake up, woe is me. Yeah. Shit, this again. So yeah. This is an ongoing. So for those who are listening, don't think that you're going to hit this magic button and a light switch and all of a sudden your belief system that you think you deserve this every day. It could be an ongoing feeling, yes, that you in your gut and your belief of beliefs that you do believe you deserve this, yeah. But unless you actually add real fuel and discipline and desire to that belief system, it still just stays a dream. The belief stays a dream.
Gosh.
Until you add the fire, the fuel, the desire, the passion in that, that's what makes the real thing become real. Until then, it's just a
guys,
dream.
This is Chris, your story is just a story of passion, fire, and resilience is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have nothing to lose, when you have lost everything, you have nothing to lose, what's the worst that could happen? That makes you a very dangerous person in business because you're willing to do whatever it takes. And this is what we see today. Chris, you've been a mortgage advisor, you've been a real estate agent, you've been a brokerage owner, you've been a team leader. And, how has this platform that we're on, the EXP platform, turbocharged your business, and how has it changed your life and business today?
Oh, man. You know what? Again, when I got into real estate, or I got into this space of real estate in the industry as a whole, I did not want to actually sell real estate. It was not my gig. It was too rinse, wash, dry, repeat. Linear chasing business, I knew there was never an end game to it. It's the assembly line that never ends.
No.
You're the driver of the train. You're the conductor of the train. You're the guy punching the tickets. You're that guy. And unless you want to drive that train at 100 years old, you better figure out someone else to drive the train and systems to actually make it work. Otherwise, you will be that person that they say you're selling real estate when you're 90, trying to tell everybody around the freaking team meeting that you're excited as you get your 55th award for being in business. Like, holy shit, if I have that, freaking shoot me in the face. That is not a bragging right, by the way, out there listening. If you're listening and you're like 50 years in the business and you're actually telling people that as a badge of honor, shame on you for actually saying that, because that's not entrepreneurialism. That's prison. You just shackled yourself to a 25-year prison sentence, and you're okay with that? Fucking come on, wake up. Anyways, that's a side road. But my point in saying that is that I didn't want to sell real estate. I wanted to build a business, and my two favorite words were leverage and scale. If I can figure out how to do those two things and whatever I'm doing, I'm good. Like, I want to leverage and scale. Real estate's a great vehicle for doing that. We all know the MRA Red Book helped you figure out how to take a business 7th level, and that was leverage and scale. That was what that was. You leverage and scale. And people like Gary Keller, Dave Liniger, those guys, they figured out how to leverage and scale. They leverage people, scaled a business, create systems, built models, and boom, here we go. They now get to live in a different situation where they're not actually driving the train anymore, right? They're just a passenger on it. Or they get to hear about the different trips because they're somewhere else doing their life. That's where I wanted to be at. I wanted to be, and let's be honest, I'll be totally honest here, John. I'm freaking lazy. I'm lazy to a default that I don't want to freaking work. I just don't. I mean, that's the odd guy. I don't want to work. I'm not lazy in the aspect that I'm not willing to do the work. I just don't want to work the rest of my life. I want to win the lottery of life, right? I do. So that's the reason why I do what I do. I'm lazy. So, and I think everybody's lazy, but a lot of people allow their laziness to creep into their daily activities of discipline and routines, and that laziness never lets them get to the real true ability to be lazy, quote unquote lazy, and life, to enjoy the fruits of your labor, to have life at your choice, life by design. So when I got to, after running my own place, running a Keller Williams, I thought, well, after mine sank and died, I'm like, shit, let's just jump on the back of a Titanic, Keller Williams. That makes sense. Maybe I can jump on them and figure out how to make this work. And I did, but, I realized that I was just a higher paid prostitute. In my reality, I was what I was. I was a higher paid prostitute. As a team leader, that's kind of what you are. So, I mean, if you're a team leader out there listening to this, you know what the hell I'm talking about, because I've been there, done that. And let's be honest, let's put this out there too. The life expectancy for a team leader is 18 months. 18 months is the life expectancy for a team leader. Keller Williams, I know that for real, because that was the standard, 18 months. I had lasted 3.5 years doing that shit. So it's a lot. And the truth is, I was increasing my owner's profit year over year 200%. And they still fired me. They still fired me and let me go when they were looking to go other directions, which means that you're never, ever in control when you're in that seat. You're only as good as until you're not. And trust me, if you're listening to me out there and you think that your job's secure as a team leader, you got another thing coming. Because one day, they're going to come knock on your office door and have this conversation. Hey, John, let's go have lunch. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go in different directions. We appreciate what you've done for us so far, and we thank you for all you've done, but we're just going to go in different directions these days. I'm like, okay. Basically, we mean we're firing you. That's what that means. And so I realized that in that level that I was just in the spoken rim, like I said. I was building someone else's dream, and I was working my ass off for it, like literally blood, sweat, and tears to build that. And, at that point, I was like, I'm done. I am absolutely done with franchise world. The franchise world sucked. I was done with it because they were just a bunch of slave owners, in my opinion. Again, they're a bunch of pimps. It's, I honestly, this is like a real crude analogy, but this is the truth. I believe real estate is literally, it's a prostitution ring. And because I say that, not saying that we're all prostitutes, I'm just saying this. There's never been a pimp in the history of pimpology that's ever taken his lady of the evening, whatever you want to call her, and say, hey, you know what? Let's, that little bit of money I let you keep, let's start creating a portfolio, or let me help you invest that and create a retirement plan, or let me help you diversify so that one day you could leave me and retire. Or, hey, how about I teach you how to create your own pimpology so that one day you can leave me and start your own. That's never a conversation, ever. It's you go do this job until you die, literally, and when you're dead, I'll have 10 other Sallys to replace you. That is a modern day brokerage. That's exactly how it works. It's not designed for you to get out. It's a trap. It is.
Yeah.
That's why there's only one Gary Keller, there's only one Dave Liniger, and there will only be one Gary Keller and one Dave Liniger. Well, oops, I guess not now. Keller Williams sold off some of his shares, so it's Gary
Right.
Keller and some other people, hedge funds, are now at this point. But yes, my point is saying is there's always only one that actually runs that pimpology scenario. And all the agents at the bottom, we work our butts to death, and we get paid decently well, but there's nothing in there designed to help you exit. It's only designed to help you do more deals. We're going to coach you. We're going to train you. We're going to make you great. Basically, I'm going to give you better knee pads and better lube to do more Johnnies. That's what we're telling you to do. It's what it's all about. That's exactly what that means. It's never to get out of the business. Understand that, people. It is not designed to get out of the business. It is a trap. You're going to stay stuck in it till you're 90 because you didn't plan. That's how it works. That's why realtors sell real estate forever. That's why you go to more funerals than you go to retirement parties. There is no retirement parties for realtors. They don't exist. So that was the key. I didn't want that. So the Keller Williams thing was great. But when I got to EXP, literally I was about to go open up my own shop again. I was going to open my own shop again with a buddy of mine who was a commercial broker, and we were going to pair up, and we were going to do this again, but it was going to cost about $250,000 to get started. And I was like, holy shit, let me think about that for a minute, because that's a big cliff to jump off of again. Am I willing to do that all over? And in the meantime, I was like, all right, God, this is what you want me to do. I'm doing it. If it's not, you need to send me a big freaking sign. I want a real sign. I want like that real sign, God. And 2 days later, no lie, Brent calls me on the phone. And I was like, oh, what's up, buddy? I haven't talked to him. I goes, yeah. He says, Ben, I just left Keller Williams. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, bro. We packed up a moving van on a Sunday night at midnight, so nobody knew what we were doing. We emptied out my office at KW, and we were out. I was like, holy shit, all right. He's like, I got to share with you what we're doing. I go, okay, again, okay. What do you got? Let's meet. And he did. He shared me the EXP model at the time. And it was more basic. Trust me, in 2016, it was more basic than what it is today. It was not evolved to what it is today. Yeah. We are a freaking massive ecosystem now. We are like legit top of the top game right now. Yeah. And so back then I was like, but I saw the pillars, the ability to scale, leverage, and my cost of entry was only $99. I was like, shit, 250 grand, $99? Man, even if I trip and fall and screw this up for $99, I would spend that on a Saturday at dinner. Let's go. Let's go. And so, and I said, and Brent's doing it, so we're going to do it together. Let's go. And we did. And now here we are. So the thing about EXP is that it took all of the things I was about to do for $250,000, but it already had it in place for me for $99. And my ability to scale and leverage was 1,000% better than if I even had my own brokerage right there in Roseville, because I'd be stuck geographically within that location in that brick and mortar. I wouldn't be able to go out beyond that. I mean, I could, but my cost and my margins would be ridiculous. It make no sense. In this model, I am now currently in 32 states across the U.S., all of the Hawaiian Islands, and a couple different countries right now internationally, and I did that for $99. $99. Are you kidding me right now? If you're a business owner out there, if you're a broker owner and you think this is stupid, you're on crack. Like, you really are just dumb. I'm sorry. Your ego is going to cash checks it can't afford. That's your problem. If you think by any means that this is not a smart financial means because you're a broker owner, you're just your ego is bigger than you want. That's what it is. You're not willing to cash that ego check. That's all it is. Because numbers do not lie. 1 + 1 is 2. It's never been 2.5. If you don't do the math and understand this from a financial perspective, the real entrepreneur guy, the guy who should think differently than a real estate agent, you should be smarter. You should know your P&Ls, understand your bottom line, knowing where your margins are at. If you do, and you compare them side by side, I promise you right now, you will not touch EXP with a 10-foot pole. And the growth opportunities, like the scalability from what you are now. You might be a small independent brokerage of 10, 15, 20, 50. That's cool. I'm telling you right now, though, you're still bleeding financially. I promise you. If you're like 50 or less right now in an independent, you're financially bleeding right now. You're almost to the borderline of being broke, but you're just not wanting to admit it. You're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, and you're going to go down the Titanic. You're Rose. You're freaking Rose. You're going to go down the Titanic, and there's not a piece of wood in the ocean that you're going to float on, by the way. You're done. Don't let your ego ruin the lives of so many other people in your organization. I'm telling you right now, if you're that guy, you should be better. You should be better because you should want better for your team, your brokerage, the people working for you. You should want better. And for the fact you're not. So anyways, yeah, that's my 2 cents in my soapbox. But EXP has allowed me to build everything I build out and maintain a level of a margin on efficiency for profit and for running my bottom line. Oh my God, it's insane. Like, I can do the same things if I were a broker, but I have no risk, no liability, no overhead. The cost is a fraction. My ability to expand and scale is ridiculous. Like, tell me how that makes no sense as a business owner. Then you're an idiot. If you think I'm sorry, you're an idiot. I'm just being honest. Like, I can't be
Brent
honest.
always says, thank you. And like Brent always says, Chris, your ego is not your amigo. No. And this has been one of the realest podcasts we've ever had on Power Half Hour.
Sorry.
We got to know. I want to get you back because we want to get to dive maybe just a little bit deeper with Chris. And, Chris, it's been such a pleasure to get to know you, brother. I love you. And,
likewise.
I could see the passion, the fire, the fuel that, manifested into the man you became today. And, we're proud of you. We are, we thank you for all that you've contributed to me and the rest of EXP and all agents out there. And for you to be super real and vulnerable today on this podcast, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. I appreciate it. I think the real meaning in life is authenticity. The highest form of energy in the world on this planet is authenticity. It's not love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's not hugs. It's not kisses. It's authenticity. So, yeah, I can only be who I'm going to be, and this is it. I have no apologies for anybody to anyone. I'm on this new level of purpose, which, I'd love to chat with you because I'm on a whole new level. Moving out to Hawaii is such a big game changer for me right now. That's a whole other conversation, but I've been able to rekindle and reignite my actual purpose in life, which has just been inspiring to me because at my age now and where I'm at in my career, I felt dormant and I felt a sense of lack of purpose for a while until I moved out here to Hawaii. And now I have this, and I'm on a whole other mission out here that I'm on this run, and whoever wants to join me can join me. Whoever doesn't, oh well. But it's going to be, selfishly, I'm going to say it's my show and I'm doing it like this because I know what I got up here. My plans, my goal, my thing, and I got the agenda. And I'm trying to find people that want to go swim along with me, man, and run this race, this marathon with me, and keep up. And that's where I'm at. And for those who don't, I still love you. For those who don't, but I'm going to be on this unapologetically for my mission and my goal, and I'm here, and it's exciting. The next 5 years is going to be just game changer. Let's go, guys. Hey,
You know, I'm with you, Chris. And guys, if you want to follow along Chris's journey and DM him and, you know, reach out to him, if you want to join his organization, if you're in Oahu or wherever else in the world that you're listening to this from, Team Freedom EXP, go follow Chris. Chris, thank you for today. We'll see you soon.
Awesome, bro. Thank you. Pleasure. Mahalo. Aloha.